It is my pleasure to be with you all. In the presentation, some slides will have a lot of text. I'm not going to go through them all. I'll pick out particular points, giving examples that make them come to life. A lot of the points are very obvious, but they still need to be listed for you to refer to. You're welcome to these slides afterwards, so you do not need to take notes. Just listen to me and enjoy the talk. Decades of working with multicultural communities has given me a very specific overview. Science tells us that we all come out of Africa. There's only one race, human race, and multiculturalism underpins the local global context of an interdependent world working for nature and people. It is notable that white people make up only 11% of the world population. In 1987, Ben asserted that there is no such thing as a purely environmental project. A so-called purely environmental project is one that has rejected its social, cultural, and economic dimensions. Parks are special places maintained by passionate people in a world where nature is being squeezed out. They need to be treasured, maintained, and open to everyone, underpinning local health and well-being at this time of climate emergency. It's good to see the language of equality, diversity, and inclusion emerge in the Glasgow Climate Pact, including words such as loss and damage and a just transition. However, the full manifestation of equity is yet to come. The historical struggle for a fair and equal world continues. We have come a long way since the murder of George Floyd in May 2020. Black Lives Matter, riding on this, initiated an extraordinary worldwide impetus to action for diversity, equality, and inclusion, and proposed that everything is structural. It is a good time to work for equity. In 2017, the UN Deputy Secretary General asserted that in an increasingly urbanizing world, the battle for sustainability will be fought, won, or lost in our cities. Parks have a key role to play. This highlights access to nature and the two-way street paradigm, people for nature and nature for people. We need both to unlock the benefits of urban parks and inspire and enable diverse people to make their contribution. So let's look at what we can do together. What I touch on is applicable to all disadvantaged groups, as we have so much in common. From this, I'm only just going to pick out number 1 and number 3. Number 1 is about having high-profile organizational diversity champions. They enable things to get done. Number 3 is about making diverse supporter organizations and individuals visible. That is really fundamental. Now, this is about power to your elbow. Any organization or individual working on this can use wider policy instruments, reports, and overarching concepts to push the actions that we want. You can research your own lists, but there are some of them here. You may wish to refer to the declaration of this forum put into place by UN Habitat to give stakeholder voices more prominence. The New Urban Agenda links environmental action with human settlements. It asserts that no one should be left behind. And in the UK, Wales leads the way with integrated thinking. Note those 4 keywords: social, cultural, environmental, and economic, from Ben's assertion in 1987. These are the community-facing actions. People that are cared for will care and act and contribute. So here are notes for you on representation, especially note 1. Put representatives into decision-making structures. I will now go straight onto the examples. Do Google Climate Reframe. About a year ago, Dog Society challenged the media as to why multicultural voices were not appropriately visible. Their answer was, where do you find them? Dog Society responded with researching 100 established multicultural environmental activists and experts putting them into an open database, so now they have no excuse. This database is moving the goalposts as it's being used by media, conference, event and workshop organizers, and organizations trying to find diverse board and committee members. A second stage development aspires to include emerging diverse voices and experts to take it to 1,000. This is a model for elevating the voices of all disadvantaged groups. This is really good practice, a local celebratory, high-profile planting event consciously ensuring diverse presence. And a city-based action, restoring cultural features in parks and contributing to a sense of belonging. If you visit this wood today, you will see nothing but trees and that bilingual sign saying Council Wood. The memory of color and ceremony are a thing of the past. Planting trees is in itself helping nature, but making actions that create significant cultural associations is important. It is about ownership of the landscape. You can do smaller versions using just a flower bed or even single existing trees. More notes for you on engagement. Here again, the two-way street paradigm of people for nature and nature people for people lays down the basis for participation. In 30 years of participation, I can collapse the whole process into two phrases. We love what we enjoy and we protect what we love. If we provide the enjoyment of nature locally to deprived groups and give them support, we're setting them on a journey of finally releasing a vast missing contribution, when they too, like so many of us that are privileged with the enjoyment of the beauty of nature, will protect what they love. And parks are so important for this. The storytelling rat invites you to help knit its tail, and when you sit down next to it, gives you all kinds of useful information, including self-care related to climate change. I'm proud to be a co-founder of London National Park City. Their website is a model for stimulating action. You really can't get any closer to transforming our neighborhoods than their slogan, greener, healthier, wilder. Creating events that give voice to diverse groups is a great model. Our ethnic minorities represent global majorities. Partnership with non-environmental community groups and cross-sector work opens up socially and culturally sensitive programs of activities. And you know, urban people can really do with seeing nature on a grand scale. Urban parks can occasionally organize trips further afield, enabling groups to do this. These experiences inspire different local actions and rich local futures. And if you want details of processes for engaging with diverse communities, you might like to Google these documents. Theme 3, provision, multicultural spaces and multi-sector provision of activities. Burgess Park in London is a model multifunctional space, drawing people into parks by having all kinds of activities and spaces, including a BMX bike track. This initiative has extensive factory-size makerspace to stimulate activity and learning, especially opening up reimagining. Reimagining includes the restoration of natural features that have been lost or covered up, such as rivers. Combining features with provision of activities is a great formula. An important aspect of parks is the recognition of the popular perception of food growing and gardening as nature. It is a bridge to connection with wild nature. Myersfield grows and gives away 50,000 pot plants to diverse communities to extend their growing and harvesting season. It also contributes to food security. Lingering in parks is such a pleasure, and many flowers and plants reflect the diversity of people. By illustrating the origin of plants, we can emphasize this. Setting standards through award criteria and coming together to share good practice are great moves for diversity and for inclusion. Last but not least, turn your minds to the potential green jobs we all need all over the world at this point in time to meet net zero. The UK government is investing in this, a huge opportunity, but we need governments all over the world to invest in more green jobs to meet net zero, and ultimately also investing in parks. So what new green jobs do you need and want locally? Time to put your thinking caps on and get the cash. Climate justice calls for people-centered policy with attention to race and to gender. We are in crisis, but lots of examples lead the way. There are challenges, but also opportunity. Let's consider renegotiating and negotiating an expanded role for the contribution of parks and the park community as a formidable force for actions for diversity and access, benefiting nature and people. Thank you for listening.